Hello everyone and welcome to another random bits and pieces segment from my brain, and today, sit a while, for we are playing some more Franchise Hockey Manager 6 as part of the Ottawa Senators. So our retooled Ottawa Senators are doing okay. They are 4th in the East right now. And we are about to play the team that's first, which is the Boston Bruins, with their very impressive 11-1 record that they have so far this season. For once, we do not have any injuries. As we know, injuries have kind of derailed the past couple seasons, really. So hopefully here with a healthy squad we can continue on doing better. As usual, prior to shooting the video, I took a look at what's available on the trade block. There is one player that could be interesting, and I haven't said that in a while. The problem is that player is Dave Bolland, and I'm afraid that he's about to decline. Dave Bolland had a few really key injuries in real life, and after that he really basically stopped playing, and I think we're kind of getting close to when he had those, so I'm afraid that I'm going to trade for him and that he's going to start to decline very rapidly after. So that's me metagaming a little bit, so I'm not going to go for him. If it wasn't for that, I think maybe I would have given it some thought. I'm not that deep at center, so that could have been interesting, but yeah. So with that being said, let's get this underway. So today we are going to be in Boston to play against the Bruins, and as I just mentioned, they have a very impressive record of 11-1, which puts them first in the East. We haven't played Boston so far this season, which is probably why they have such a great record. After playing us, they're gonna be a little bit lower there, so yeah, it's another team, it looks like, that's not carrying a whole lot of players. Andre Benoit is hurt, he's not gonna be playing that game. So in net it's Ryan Miller and just making sure it's Michael Hutchinson. Okay, just making sure. Doesn't have that high of a putt. I guess it's okay. Then on D, it's Kostov, Sigat, Krug, Lyle Stanton, Dougie Hamilton, and Barrett Jackman. And then up front we have Murray, Lucic, Ott, Thompson, Bailey, Burmistrov, O'Reilly, Cal, not Ryan, David Krejci, Mike Ribeiro, Phil Kessel, Brad Marchand, and that would be Jesse Schultz. Alright, honestly, I'm a little bit surprised that they have such a good start to this season with that lineup there. I mean, it's not terrible, don't get me wrong, but is it 11-1 worthy? I don't know. Let's play them, let's find that out for ourselves. Alright, so we are at TD Garden tonight. Brian Elliott is going to be in net for the Sens. Ryan Miller is going to be in net for Boston. Well, we lost 4-1, so I guess they are doing something right. We outshot Boston 38-22. David Krejci was the first star of the game. He had 3 assists. Ryan Miller was the second star with 37 saves. And Phil Kessel was the third star with 2 goals. Right, so Boston took a 2-0 lead into the first period. Then there was a fight between Steve Ott and Zdeno Chara. That was all in the first period. Then in the second, Boston scored again, made it 3-0, and then Braden Shen scored his 5th from Drew Doughty, made it 3-1 Boston after 2. And of course they scored at the end of the third period in an empty net, made it 4-1, and we lost in regulation for the second time this season. 4-1 loss. Alright, prolific passing night for Jay Beagle in St. Louis. He had 4 assists against Colorado, pretty good. Eugene Melnick is very happy with my work. So, alright. I guess he was tired of the old core that we had too, huh? Alright, so now we are going to have a couple days off, and then we're going to host the Detroit Red Wings, who are not having a very good start to the season. Josh Harding is on waivers. I'm not going to pick him up. And now Detroit's in town. Now keep in mind Detroit has switched to the East now. So if I make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, it cannot be against Detroit. That would be something that would be very nice for a little bit of a change. Although, to be fair, I haven't been in any kind of contention for the Cup in a couple of seasons now. Alright, so Detroit in town, like I said, they're not doing too good. They are 3-7-1 so far this season. That's good for 14th in the East. Now there's 16 teams in the East, 14 in the West. Just so that we're all on the same page, and it's the first time playing Detroit. They will be without probably their best player, Henrik Zetterberg, out for a couple weeks. So in net, Detroit's gonna have Jimmy Howard and Petr Mrazek. On D, it's gonna be Kevin Dahlman, Alec Martinez, Aaron Rome, Carl Gunnarsson, Jacob Kindle, Brendan Smith. It's average, I guess. Up front, David Booth, Gustav Nyquist, Pessonen, Klo, Chipchura, Amel, Emerton, Elm, Matthias Franzen, Udler, Letestu, Tatar, Brunner, and Jarn Krok. So, yeah. The mighty have fallen a little bit in Detroit. That's what it looks like. We're far from the years of, Yzerman and Fyodorov and Lidstrom and all of those players. And now, especially since I took Datsuk away from them and Zetterberg is hurt, it's a little tough over there. So Jimmy Howard's going to be in net for Detroit. We are going to go with Brian Elliott. Now we need a win to go back on the winning side of things. And we won 3-1, so pretty decent game. Although we did allow quite a few shots. I mean, for us, we still outshot Detroit 46-35. Mark Scheifele was the first star. He had 2 assists. Mark Letestu was the second star with an assist, and Alexander Radulov was the third star with a goal. We had 16,375 people in attendance for this game. Right, so Alexander Radulov opened up the scoring in the first period. That was his 5th of the season from Mark Scheifele and Mika Zibanejad. It was 1-0 Sens at that point, but then Detroit tied the game before the end of the period, so it was tied at 1 after 1. Then nobody scored in the second period, and then in the third period, TJ Brody scored a goal from Jared Cowan and Mark Scheifele, and then finally Drew Doughty scored on the power play from Nikita Filatov. 3-1 the final score. There was also a fight between Zdeno Chara and Brendan Smith near the end of the game. Good night for Brad Marchand, who had 4 assists against the Panthers. Pretty good. Alright, and now we are about to host the Minnesota Wild. Teddy Purcell has a strong game with the Rangers. He had a hat-trick against Detroit, so Detroit got beat again. Alright, Minnesota in town yet again, a team we're going to play for the first time this season. Minnesota is 5-5-1, playing for 500. I'm going to go ahead and check to see what's going on over there. No injuries in Minnesota and a full lineup, that's nice to see. So Nicholas Backstrom and Matt Hackett in net, and then Chris Letang, Nick Schultz, Keith Yandel, Clayton Sonnen, Jonas Brodin, Raphael Jordan, Dustin Bufflin, Brent Burns, and Nick Leddy on D. That's very strong. I think we played them in the preseason. I seem to remember this particular lineup: Kyle Clutterbuck, Jones, Miller, Pouliot, Watsy, Eliash, Loktionov, Stamkos, Granlund, Gaborik, Fontaine, and Fraser. Goaltending maybe a little shaky. Nicholas Backstrom's getting older. The D's pretty strong, and there's some good pieces up front, so yeah. Yeah, we did play them in the preseason. Just like I said, I kind of remembered that. So Matt Hackett is going to be in net for Minnesota. We are going to go with Brian Elliott. And we won 5-1. All right. Looking pretty good again. So we outshot Minnesota 49-24. Alexander Radulov was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Jason Spezza was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Eric Carlson was the third star with a goal. 18,353 people in attendance for this game. So we open up the scoring in the first. We have Brooks Like scoring from Alexander Radulov and Zdeno Chara, and then Roman Josi from Pavel Datsyuk and Jason Spezza. 2-0 Sens after 1. Then in the second period, Roman Josi scored from David Legwan and Drew Doughty. That made it 3-0. Then Minnesota scored, and we scored again. That was Jason Spezza on the power play from Alexander Radulov and Braden Chen. It was 4-1 after 2. Zdeno Chara got into yet another fight, this time against Cal Clutterbuck in the second period of this game. And then finally in the third period, Eric Carlson scored late in the third from Alex Pietrangelo, and it was a 5-1 victory. Daniel Sedin has achieved 900 points in his career. That happened against San Jose. Scored a goal. So Daniel Sedin, 33 years old, still a 5-star player. But Vancouver lately has not been very good. Alright. Right, and Winnipeg is now in town, so another Western team, another team we have not played so far this season. Winnipeg is 7-6-1 right now, so just a little bit over 500. That should be putting them right about the playoff cutoff or something. Let's take a look at their team here, since we have not played them, and then we're gonna hit our Canadian Western trip there. We're going to play in Vancouver, Edmonton, and Calgary. And then we have another road trip near the end of the month that's going to be coming as well. Alright, so let's take a look here at the Winnipeg Jets. No injuries, full lineup. I like to see that. Kari Lehtonen and Andre Pavlesh in net. Then Toby Enstrom, Curtis Foster, Mark Stewart, Dan Boyle, Zach Bogosian, Braden Coburn, Matt Green, and Dennis Seidenberg on D. Not the youngest D around. They have a couple decent defensemen, but like I said, their D is starting to age a little bit. Quite a few guys that are on the wrong side of 30 there. Matt Ellis, Kostopoulos, Nigel Dawes, Ilya Kovalchuk, Laurie McKenzie, Brian Little, Dominic Moore, Imanen, Albert, Stepan, Morin, and Makachik up front. Yeah, it hurts them that I took Mark Scheifele, but hey, he was right there, so I took him. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and proceed with the game. They're going to go with Andre Pavlich in net. We are going to go with Brian Elliott yet again. And we won 7-2. Really good game. We outshot the Jets 38-24. Patrice Bergeron was the first star of the game. He had 4 assists. Jason Spezza was the second star with a goal and 3 assists. And Pavel Datsyuk was the third star with a goal and 2 assists. 18,841 people in attendance for this game. So In the first period, Winnipeg scored first, made it 1-0, but then we scored twice. So we had Jason Spezza from Petrus Bergeron and then Pavel Datsyuk from Jason Spezza. It was 2-1 Sens after one. And Zdeno Chara got into a fourth fight in 4 games by fighting Zach Bogosian there in the first period, but also Zach Smith fought Mark Stewart. So 2 fights in the first period, if you're into that type of thing. In the second period, Braden Shen scored on the power play from Jason Spezza and Alex Pietrangelo, made it 3-1, and then Mika Zibanejad scored his first NHL goal from David Legwan and Pavel Datsyuk, made it 4-1 after 2. And then finally, in the third period, Erik Karlsson scored on the power play from Petrus Bergeron and Jason Spezza. Then Alex Pietrangelo scored on the power play also from Erik Karlsson and Petrus Bergeron. Brooks Laich scored from Pavel Datsyuk and Petrus Bergeron, made it 7-1. And then the Jets would add another goal, made it 7-2. And that was the end of the game. 7-2, pretty good game. Strong night for Petrus Bergeron. We saw him get his 4 assists. And David Legwan is now playing left wing. Or he's getting better there, at the very least. Alright, so we're packing our bags. We are going to Western Canada in November. It's going to be cold. There's going to be snow, probably. Good chances, at least. Red light stays on for Bo Bennett in Pittsburgh. He had 3 goals and an assist against Buffalo. Yoni Pitkanen is out for 5 months with an injury in Columbus. That's not good for them. That happened against Tampa Bay. A fractured larynx. Right, and then in a couple days we will be in Vancouver. Prolific passing night for Ryan Getzlaf. He had 4 assists against Vancouver. Pretty good game, and that was 8 straight games with an assist for him. Brad Marchand extends this point streak to 12 games with an assist against the Devils. Alright, and we are now in Vancouver. So Vancouver is doing a little bit better this season than they have been doing in the past. They are 8-7-1. And that's yet another team we are playing for the first time. So there's a lot of firsts here in November. Right, so Corey Schneider is hurt. He's not going to be playing this game. So in net, in the meantime, it's going to be Edilak and Kolesnik. And then on D, we have Edler, Connaughton, Petricki, Beaulieu, Blum, Campoli. Not all that strong. Then up front, we have Grabner, McLaren, Sedin, Holmstrom, Umberger, Zalewski, Holden, Stajan, Schroeder, Burish, Hodgson, Hansen, Sedin, Grenier, and Shirokov. Yeah, they don't have that strong of a team. I'm not sure if they can keep it up. Alright, so we have Brian Elliott in net. They have Eddie Lack. And we won 2-1. Alright, pretty decent game. I'll take it on the road. 1-goal game, that's fine. We outshot Vancouver 62-11. Eddie Lack was the first star of the game with 60 saves despite the loss. Josh Holden was the second star with a goal, and Mika Zibanejad was the third star with a goal as well. Nobody scored in the first period, then we took a 2-0 lead into the second period. Petrus Bergeron scored his 5th on the power play from Pavel Datsyuk and Nikita Filatov, and then Mika Zibanejad from Braden Shen and Jared Cowan, 2-0 Sens after 2. And then in the third period, Josh Holden scored to prevent Brian Elliott from getting a shutout. 2-1 the final score, and Zdeno Chara finally did not fight anybody. Alright, so Vancouver is trying to pass Kolesnik on waivers now that I guess Corey Schneider is back. Ryan O'Reilly has a good game. He had a hat-trick, 3 goals against the Islanders. Pretty good. Nathan McKinnon keeps fans on their feet all night with a hat-trick as well in the same game. And a strong night for Tyler Seguin playing for Nashville. He also had a hat-trick against the Oilers. Alright, and speaking of the Oilers, that's our next destination. We are going to be playing in Edmonton. Brad Marchand extends his point streak to 13 games with a goal against the Leafs. Suspension for Ryan White with the Ducks. He is going to miss 1 game. And Ryan Getzlaf's assist streak ended at 8 games in that same game, so didn't get a point against the Kings. Alrighty, so we are now in Edmonton to play against the Oilers. A little bit more difficult for the Oilers than it was for Calgary. They now have a 6-9-1 record. Let's take a look here, see what we have. Okay, so they have a couple injuries. Anton Belov and Kyle Brodziak are both hurt. They are not going to be playing this game. So in net, it's Devin Dubnyk and Brad Thiessen. That should be fine as long as Dubnyk is in net. Theo Peckham, Wisniewski, Clefbaum, Grabashkov, Urbom, Whitney on D. I believe we played them in the preseason as well, because I remember seeing Ryan Whitney with another team. So looks like he signed with the Oilers. Taylor Hall, Jason Shimura, Magnus Payarvi, Ever Listen, Ryan Smith, Ryan Nugent-Tompkins, Lander Stoll, Yakimov, Cogliano, Bachinski, Eberle, Shrimp, and Abdelkader up front. So it's kind of a mixed bag. Not a very strong D, good goaltending, potent offense. D might be a little weak though. Alright, and Brian Elliott yet again in net for us, and Devin Dubnyk in net for Edmonton. And we won 5-1. Alright. So we outshot Edmonton 45-30 in that game. Jason Spezza was the first star. He had 2 assists. Petrus Bergeron was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Nikita Filatov was the third star with a goal. Right, so nobody scored in the first. Then in the second period, Pavel Datsyuk scored his 5th on the power play from Nino Niederreiter and Petrus Bergeron. And then Edmonton tied the game after that. Actually, it was Ryan Whitney scoring against his former team, so it was tied at 1 after 2. So there was also a fight. Of course, Zdeno Chara only took a 1-game break. 3 seconds into the second period, he decided to fight Theo Peckham, so that was that. So tied at 1, we went into the third period. TJ Brody scored what would happen to be the game winner from Jason Spezza and Jared Cowan. Mark Scheifele scored from Brooks Lake and Alexander Radulov. Nikita Filatov from Mika Zibanejad and Braden Chen. And finally Petrus Bergeron from Jason Spezza. Just like that, it was 5-1 Sens, and that was a victory in the nation's capital. Alright, Brad Marchand extends his point streak to 14 games. He had a goal and an assist against Montreal. Martin Erat has recorded 600 points with an assist against St. Louis. Tyler Seguin extends his goal streak to 5 games with 2 goals and 2 assists against St. Louis. That's a pretty good game. Big game for Scott Hartnell, who had 3 goals and an assist against St. Louis in that same game. And Mike Camilleri extends his goal streak to 5 games with a goal and an assist against the Stars. Alright, and we are about to play against the Flames. Alright, so Mike Richards is suspended. He's going to miss 3 games. And then we have Cam Ward injured while moving furniture. Out a couple weeks in Carolina, like they need that. Oh, look at Carolina. Maybe they're starting to do better. They They are almost playing for 500. Wow. That's definitely something. There's news there in Carolina. They are not last in the East. Nope, that would be Detroit. And even Florida's worse than them. The Canes might start to get out of the basement. Wow. Alright, so we are in Calgary. The Flames are actually doing pretty good this season. They are 11-6-1 so far. Let's take a look here at their lineup. So they do have Michael Furlan is hurt. He's not going to be playing this game. And then in net, it's good old Andy, Craig Anderson, Carey Ramos, the backup, Giordano, Cronwall, Stuart Phaneuf, Wilson, Noro on D. That's decent. Up front we have Ladislav Nagy, Lino, Sutter Furland, Reinhardt, Gaudreau, Buma, Cracknell, Monahan, Cervenchka, Backlund, Kabasu, Cunningham, Wellman, and Poirier. Yeah, that's a decent team. There's a few holes, maybe on the left side, on the left wing. I mean, Johnny Gaudreau, of course, is really good, but past that, it's a little thin. But other than that, I think they have a decent team. Alright, so Calgary might be able to beat us. We're going to go with Brian Elliott, and they are going to go with Carey Ramo. And we won 6-2. So we lost against Boston the first game of the month, and since then we have been invincible. And we outshot Calgary 53-12 in that game. Zach Smith was the first star. He had 2 assists. Brooks Lake was the second star with 2 goals. And Alex Pietrangelo was the third star with 2 assists. So we took a 3-0 lead into the first period. We have Roman Josi scoring from Zach Smith and TJ Brody, and then Brooks Lake from Mark Scheifele and Drew Doughty, and then Nino Niedrider from Alex Pietrangelo and David Legwan. It was 3-0 at that point, and then Calgary scored, so it was 3-1 Sens after 1. In the second period, Mark Scheifele scored his 5th on the power play from Patrice Bergeron and Braden Shen. It was 4-1 Sens after 2. And then in the third period, Calgary reduced the lead, and it was 4-2, but then we scored twice. Pavel Datsyuk scored from Drew Doughty and Zdeno Chara, and then Brooks Lake scored his 5th from Zach Smith and Alex Pietrangelo, and it was a 6-2 victory. And a lot of news showed up. Nicholas Wallin is also available on waivers. Brad Marchand's point streak ended at 14 games. He was held scoreless against the Carolina Hurricanes. A night to remember for Camilleri. He had 3 goals and 2 assists against the Ducks. Really good game. And that was 6 straight games with a goal for him. And Zeke Kopitar had a good game in that same game. He had 4 assists. Ryan White is back from suspension in Anaheim. Memorable game for Thomas Vanek with Buffalo. He had a hat-trick against Toronto. Tyler Seguin extends his goal streak to 6 games. He had 2 goals against Winnipeg. And Scott Hartnell extends his assist streak to 8 games with an assist in that same game. Alright, so we are going back home in 4 days, actually. And then we are going to be facing the Nashville Predators. No further action needed for Detroit's Brendan Smith, not suspended. Duncan Keith has accomplished 600 points in his career. He got an assist against Dallas. That was... yeah. So Duncan Keith, 30 years old, 4-star player. Already 600 points in the NHL. That is pretty good. Brandon Peary in that same game extended his goal streak to 5 games. He had 2 goals and 2 assists. Pretty good game for him. Sergei Mozyakin has tallied 600 points in his career as well. Wow. He had 1 assist against Detroit. 32 years old, Sergei Mozyakin, 2.5-star player. Scott Hartnell extends his assist streak to 9 games with an assist against the Leafs. And strong game for Louis Eriksson, playing for Montreal. He had a hat-trick against Pittsburgh. Alright. So the Nashville Predators are in town, and we actually played against Nashville so far this season. It was in Nashville. Actually, it was the first game of the season, I believe. And we won that 5-2, so we are 1-0 against Nashville. They are now 12-5-1. So let's see if we can beat them again. They have a pretty good team, as we saw. Scott Hartnell and Tyler Seguin are doing pretty good over there. So Pecorine is in net for Nashville. We are going to go with Robin Lehner for the first time in a long time. And we won 5-2. Alright. We outshot Nashville 28-21. Zdeno Chara was the first star of the game. He had a goal and 2 assists. Mark Scheifele was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Brooks Laich was the third star with 2 assists. 16,830 people in attendance for this game. TJ Brody opened up the scoring in the first period. That was a power play goal from Zdeno Chara and Pavel Datsyuk. 1-0 Sens after 1. And in the second period, Nashville scored twice and took a 2-1 lead, but then before the end of the period, and 7 seconds after their second goal, Drew Doughty tied the game from Zdeno Chara and Zach Smith. It was tied at 2 after 2. Then in the third period, we unleashed the Fury. We had 3 unanswered goals. Mark Scheifele scored from Brooks Laich and Pavel Datsyuk. Then Alex Pietrangelo scored his 5th from Brooks Laich and Erik Karlsson. And finally, Zdeno Chara scored in an empty net from Alexander Radulov and Mark Scheifele. 5-2, the final score. Excuse me. Pavel Datsyuk has racked up 900 points in his career, so he had 2 assists against Nashville, of course. 35 years old Pavel Datsyuk, still a 5-star player, so I guess we can keep him around. Scott Hartnell's assist streak ended at 9 games. He scored a goal, but he didn't get an assist, so we stopped that. We didn't stop his point streak, though. Alright, and in a couple days we will be hosting the St. Louis Blues. Alright, suspension over for Mike Richards in Philadelphia. He is back in the lineup. Alright, so the Blues are in town. Blues are struggling a little. They are 8-11 so far this season. We have not played the Blues, but we will play them again in 3 days. Oops. Not what I was trying to do. I was trying to do this. Not sure why I went and checked at their scouting. Alright, so no injuries in St. Louis. Full lineup. That's nice. Ben Bishop and Jake Allen in net. That should be plenty good. Jonathan Eriksson, Andy Green, Kyle Quincy, Eric Johnson, Andrew McDonald, Roman Polak, and Brian Leondi. The D's pretty good. Nicholas Agman, McClement, Simon, Platt, Schwartz, Beagle, Street, Berglund, Iginla, Zinoviev, Bacchus, Eller, Stepniak, and Tarasenko. So it's a pretty average team, not too bad. Definitely a few interesting players. No true superstar or anything like that to lead the team, though. Alright, so Ben Bishop is going to be in net for the Blues. We are going back to Brian Elliott. And we won 7-6. That was quite the offensive display here. So we outscored or outshot St. Louis 46-26. Pavel Datsyuk was the first star of the game. He had 3 goals and an assist. Patrick Berglund was the second star with a goal and an assist, and Jason Spezza was the third star with a goal and 3 assists. So lots of scoring in the first period. So that started with Alex Pietrangelo from Shane Prince and Zach Smith. Then Pavel Datsyuk on the power play from Patrice Bergeron. And then Jason Spezza on the power play from Pavel Datsyuk. It was 3-0 Sens at that point. Then St. Louis scored twice, made it 3-2. But then we scored again. Pavel Datsyuk from Jason Spezza. 4-2 for the Sens after 1. Then in the second period, Brooks Laich scored early from Drew Doughty and Nikita Filatov, made it 5-2. And then the Blues scored 3 times to tie the game at 5, so it was tied at 5 after 2. And we went into the third period, and St. Louis took the lead for the first time in the game. They were up 6-5, but Pavel Datsyuk tied the game from Jason Spezza and Patrice Bergeron. And with 56 seconds left to go in the period, Alexander Radulov scored from Zdeno Chara and Jason Spezza. And that was a backbreaker. We took a 7-6 lead, and we didn't give it up. So we won this 7-6. Great night for Pavel Datsyuk, who had 3 goals and an assist against the Blues in that game. And Shane Prince is starting to play left wing, or actually he has converted to left wing. Alright, and we will be in Detroit in 2 days to play against the Wings. Alright, so Luca Capuzzi is available on waivers. Justin Williams has tallied 600 points in his career with a goal against Boston. Alex Galchenyuk extends his goal streak to 5 games with a goal and an assist in that same game. And finally, a night to remember for PK Subban, who had 4 assists in that same game against the Bruins. Alright, so Alexander Salak is available on waivers, not picking him up. Excellent passing leads to productive night for Ryan Getzlaf, who had 4 assists against the Coyotes. And in that same game, Corey Perry had 3 goals and an assist. Alright, so we are in Detroit to play the Wings. Not doing too good in Detroit. Their record has gotten a lot worse since last time we played them. They are now 5-14-1. And I do believe they are last in the East with that, and they sure are. So Detroit is dead last in the East, a little bit quicker than it happened in real life. We are 1-0 against Detroit. We won against them earlier this month. So let's see if we can beat them again. Brian Elliott for us, Jimmy Howard in net for the Red Wings. And we won 5-2. So we outshot Detroit 35-23. Patrice Bergeron was the first star of the game. He had a goal and 2 assists. Pavel Datsyuk was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Jason Spezza was the third star with a goal and an assist as well. Detroit scored first in the first period, but then Jason Spezza scored his 10th from Patrice Bergeron and Alex Pietrangelo, and then Braden Shen scored short-handed from Patrice Bergeron, and it was 2-1 Sens after 1. Then Patrice Bergeron scored in the second period from Pavel Datsyuk, made it 3-1, but then Detroit cut the lead in half, and we were now up 3-2. And then in the third period, Mika Zibanejad scored from Jason Spezza and Drew Doughty. And finally, Pavel Datsyuk scored his 10th in an empty net from Alex Pietrangelo. And it was a 5-2 victory today for the Sens in Detroit. Alright, and we are now going to play against the Blues. We just played them 2 days ago. So St. Louis is now 9-12, and we are 1-0 against them. Of course, we had that crazy 7-6 victory against them just now. Robin Lehner is going to be in net for the Sens, and this time we are going to face Jake Allen. And we won 3-2, a little bit more of a normal hockey game, if you would. We outshot St. Louis 31-28. Brooks Laich was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Tarasenko was the second star with a goal and an assist, and TJ Brodie was the third star with 2 assists. So St. Louis scored first in the first period, and then Mika Zibanejad scored short-handed from Brooks Laich, and it was tied at 1 after 1. Then nobody scored in the second period, and in the third we have Mark Scheifele scoring from TJ Brodie and Brooks Laich, made it 2-1, and then St. Louis tied the game at 2, and then finally Jacob Silverberg scored from Braden Chen and TJ Brodie, gave us the 3-2 lead, and we held on to that, and we won 3-2. Alright, and looks like we're going to finish the month in Florida. That's nice. At the end of November like that, to be in Florida. Probably feels better than in Canada. At least warmer. Alright, so Ryan Kahn is not suspended in Washington. And then dynamic passing leads to productive night for Alexander Barkov with the Panthers. He had 4 assists against Carolina. Alright, and Florida is the next team on the schedule, so we are in Sunrise to face Florida. They are now 10-9-1, and that is good for 12th in the East. And we are 1-0 against the Panthers so far this season. So Brian Elliott is in net for us, and Carter Hutton is going to be in net for Florida. And we won 4-3 in overtime. Alright, they had us work on that one, actually. It was in the shootout. And we outshot Florida 42-27. Patrice Bergeron was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Jay Bouwmeester was the second star of the game. He had a goal. And Pavel Datsyuk was the third star of the game with an assist. Alright, so Patrice Bergeron opened up the scoring in the first period from Pavel Datsyuk and Drew Doughty, and then Florida scored twice, and they took a 2-1 lead after 1. And then Florida scored again in the second period, so they were leading 3-1 after 2. And there was a fight between Gregory Campbell and Zdeno Chara in the second period as well. Then in the third, we have Brooks Laich scoring from Mark Scheifele, and then Braden Chen tied the game from Patrice Bergeron and Shane Prince. Tied at 3. We went in overtime, nobody scored, and then Jonathan Huberdeau scored for Florida, but then we had goals from Mark Scheifele and Drew Doughty in the shootout, and we won 4-3, so only 1 loss so far this month. That's pretty good. Maybe I did a good thing by trading away my core. I was wondering, because there's more than just worrying about the age of your players. Chemistry plays a role as well, so I wasn't too sure what was going to happen with that. Alright, so Eric Johnson has a memorable game in St. Louis. He had a goal and 4 assists against the Oilers. Alright, and we are now in Tampa Bay to play against the Lightning. Lightning is playing for 500. They are 11-11-1. That's good for 10th in the East. And we are 1-0 against Tampa Bay this season. So we're going to go with Robin Lehner for the last game of the month, and we are going to be facing Dustin Tokarski. And we won 2-0. Alright, we finished the month with a shutout, so that's pretty good. We outshot Tampa Bay 47-14. Dustin Tokarski, despite the loss, was the first star. He had 45 saves. Yannick Weber was the second star without any point. And Drew Doughty was the third star with a goal. Alright, so Drew Doughty opened up the scoring in the first from Pavel Datsyuk and Jason Spezza, made it 1-0 Sens at that point. Then all the way in the third period, Mika Zibanejad scored his fifth from Braden Shen and Brooks Lake. It was 2-0 Sens at that point, and that stayed that way. So, 2-0 victory. Alright, so John Kalinski is available on waivers. Vladimir Tarasenko extends his goal streak to 5 games. He had a goal against the Wild. Alright, and we're gonna click one more time to get to December 1st, and that's where we're gonna stop. Alright. And Predators left wing Hartnell wins monthly award. Alright, so Scott Hartnell and Kerry Ramo both won the accolades of the month, so that's pretty good. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and save the game before we go and check at all of that good stuff that I look at. Alright, so well, that took a while, but we finally made it at the top of the standings in the East. But it's a three-way tie with Montreal and Boston. We're first because we played the least amount of games, but Montreal and Boston also have 41 points, so they are both having crazy good seasons as well. It is not just us. Alright, so let's check in the West. And look at that, Carolina is 10th in the East now. Wow. Well, they're doing better. Right, in the West we have Chicago first, of course, but their lead is not that big compared to last year at least. The Kings and the Flames are breathing down their necks. And Nashville, Vancouver, Colorado, San Jose, Minnesota, sorry. Yep. Now we're going to take a look at our stats and see who's doing good. Alright, so we have Pavel Datsyuk, who has 30 points in 23 games. Spezza is 27 in 23. Bergeron is 26 in 23. Pietrangelo is 16 in 23. Actually, Pietrangelo, Doughty, Like, and Shen are 16 in 23, and then it just starts, it just dwindles down after that. Alrighty. So Erik Karlsson having a little bit of a down season. After being a point per game last season, he has 77 points in 77 games. So far, he's 11 in 22. Let's take a look in the entire league. So the best goal scorer is Corey Perry. He has 18 goals. Then the best passer is Ryan Getzlaf. He has 32 assists. Wow. Our best is third, and it's Datsyuk, and he has 20, so he's 12 assists behind. And the best scorer is Ryan Getzlaf with 35 points total. And again, Datsyuk is our best with 30. He is fifth. Okay. And of course, Crosby's missing from there because he got hurt in the previous video, and he was going to miss about a month. So he has a few games to catch up that he's missed. Alrighty, I'm going to save again just in case. And I'm going to go ahead and stop here for today. So as usual, I do want to thank you for tuning in. And if you've liked the video, please feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment, all of that good stuff. And until I roll this game again, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.